Hey guys, so I wanted to make you a video because I know that getting this program, it can seem like a lot and a little bit confusing, especially if it's something completely different than what you've ever done. So I just want to make a video really quick. I apologize for this light, but I don't have a choice. Anyway, I want to just quickly walk through the eating plan, this book with you, because this is the one you're going to be living off of for the next 3 weeks. And also talk about the workouts and talk about Shakeology and also the group. So this video might be a little bit longer than I hoped for, but I'm going to try to move through it as quickly as I can. So let's start with this. The first thing you're going to do, I suggest reading through it. I mean, obviously, so that way you can have a better understanding of what you're doing. But the first thing you're going to do is it tells you how to calculate your caloric needs for the program. So just do that. It's really simple. You take your weight and multiply it by something and then add something and then subtract. While I'm on that note, here's a little side note. You have to eat all the containers because this plan is set up on a caloric deficit. So you're already going to be eating less calories because you're trying to lose weight or tighten, tone, whatever it is. This plan is based off a caloric deficit. It's not a huge one, but it's enough that you need to make sure you're getting in all of your containers every day. I get that question a lot. Do I have to eat all the containers? Because honestly, the problem most people have is that they find that it's a lot of food and they're eating a lot. So make sure you're doing that. Also, you have to eat every container that it says. So if you flip, it tells you what your your calorie target is. And then there's another page, a couple pages later, where it gives you a little chart. Here it is. And it tells you about the calorie charts. And all you do is you match up your calorie target with one of these, and then it tells you exactly how many containers of each color you need. So for me, I'm in the 12 to 1400 range. So I need 3 green, 2 purple, 4 reds. I think it's 2 yellow. Yeah, 1 blue and 1 orange. So I need to hit this every single day. Now, you're going to be eating a lot, like I just said. For most people, that's the problem. But here's the thing. This is 1 serving of fruit. So typically, the servings are a little bit smaller, and you should be eating every 2 to 3 hours, so 5 to 6 meals a day. And honestly, the reason behind that, just so you can understand, is that when you eat that often and you eat smaller portion sizes, your metabolism is running at its highest all day long. So you're burning calories faster. So it's more efficient. Also, you'll have more energy on this meal plan because of that exact same reason. Your metabolism and energy levels will be higher. So it's very important. Now, I understand that some of you work, so I'll get into different tips for people who work versus people who have more free time. But just know that you have to eat all the containers and you can't change them out. So if you're missing a protein, just eat the protein. Don't say, I need a protein, but I'm going to eat, a carb instead. No, nope, nope, nope. You need those proteins. You need all those macronutrients are all the same for the needs. You need them all. So make sure you're getting in all of your containers every single day. Try to space your meals out every 2 to 3 hours. Typically, people do, they wake up in the morning, they have breakfast within 30 minutes of waking up or an hour or whatever is necessary. So breakfast within an hour, then 2 to 3 hours later, they'll have a snack, then lunch, then another snack, then dinner. Also, try to get all of your purple containers, which are fruits, in before 4 p.m. And that's just because typically fruit is high in carbs, even though it's a good carb. I don't want anybody to be afraid of carbs, but they require more energy to break down than, other sources like other macros like proteins. So that's why we suggest getting all of your carbs in early in the day. So try to get them all in before 4 p.m. Also, try to have your last meal by 8 p.m., 8:30 at the very latest, because again, you want to burn off the calories in the food before you go to bed, because you don't want food just sitting in your stomach. If you get hungry, you can have a little bit of snack, but it needs to be a protein. And I believe she talks about this in here, so it needs to be one of the red containers. So if it's like 9:30 at night and you're hungry and you've drank your water and you've tried to just like, oh my God, okay, it's just because I'm used to eating this late, because that's going to happen. Your body's going to be like, what the hell are you doing? You're out of, you're doing something different. I'm freaking out. It's okay. Drink a glass of water. Try to wait and see if it goes away. If it doesn't, then you can eat one serving of protein, but only if it's a protein. Do not eat carbs that late, and don't eat fruit. Either a protein or I guess a vegetable too. I think she covers it in here, so just verify that. Okay, so anyway, so you find your container chart, and then there's list in here that tells you what foods go with what container, so you know. And as you go along, you'll start to memorize what foods go in what containers. And honestly, I mean, you know what's a carb. Most people do anyway. And you know it's a vegetable. So you'll be able to kind of get away from taking this book with you everywhere, because you'll learn it. Also, you'll start to get used to the portion sizes. And so you'll be able to kind of eyeball them. And then you'll also just start to get to a point where you can only eat one portion of fruit at a time, because that's what your body has started to get adapted to. So don't worry, you won't be carrying this around with you until you die. It'll take you like the first week or so to start like memorizing it. She also gives you ideas for ways to flavor your water, different seasonings. She doesn't put very many recipes in here, honestly, because this is more of a build your own menu. So I'm going to share a group with you guys that you can join in on, and they do 21-day fix recipe swaps. So they post recipes where they've already calculated containers, so you don't have to do it. But you can just use it for inspiration or ideas. I'm going to be posting recipes as well. For me personally, I cook a big meal and then I just portion out my things. So if I'm making like, I don't know, steak, mashed potatoes, and broccoli, I'll just make dread serving. I'll make sure my steak is portioned out to its correct number of ounces. I'll use one yellow container of potatoes and then, one green. And that way there I'm not cooking different meals for everybody. I still cook the same foods. I just adapt my portion sizes. The only thing to be careful of is, of course, if you eat a lot of processed foods, you got to cut those out. Try to make foods that are on the list. But you can still make like casseroles or, whatever it is that you normally eat. You can still make that. Just make sure it's healthy and that you can portion it out. But I will share that group with you so you guys can ask to join, so that way you can have some ideas. Now, another thing I just want to touch on before I get away from this is water. Obviously, you guys have all probably heard by now that you have to drink enough water. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, your body is going to need it, because a lot of times when people think that they're hungry, it's actually because they are dehydrated. Most people don't get enough water every day. So how much should you drink? You should take your body weight and divide it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you need per day. So make sure you're hitting your water intake every single day. It's just as important as making sure you get in the same amount of containers every day as you're supposed to. Another really important thing to remember, and I'm only going to bring this up because I've dealt with this before. For those of you who are drinking Shakeology for the first time, especially if you didn't get a vegan flavor, a lot of times for people who are just starting, and also depending on where their diet was before, Shakeology is kind of a shock to their system, because it's so many vitamins, it's so many nutrients, it's so many superfoods, it's so super healthy that their body is just kind of like, oh shit, like, okay, hold on. So you might feel gassy, you might feel a bit bloated, and water, because Shakeology is a lot of nutrition. It's very dense. So you may feel all those things, but the reason is because your body needs those nutrients. And so for the first couple days, your body will also be detoxing. So the water will help reduce the bloating, reduce the gas, and it will also help flush out all the toxins. So make sure you're doing it. And that's another thing. Please make sure you're drinking your Shakeology every day, because it's going to be, it's going to make a huge difference. It'll give you a lot of energy, and it'll just kind of be an easier meal. And, for those of you who work or who are super busy, don't worry. You can make your Shakeology and take it with you and drink it hours later. Just make sure it stays cold. I personally like to do that during the day, because I'll make it in the morning whenever I make dreads, and then, later on whenever I'm ready to drink it, I'll just shake it up and drink it. Make sure you're adding enough liquid to your Shakeology. So I do at least a cup and a half of, I use almond milk. I don't like it with water. But I use almond milk. I'll add a banana, some peanut butter. Sorry. and my Shakeology, and then that way there it's more liquidy because I like it to be thinner, more like a drink than like an actual like thick smoothie. I don't know. I don't really like that. But try it different ways. Your Shakeology should have come with a menu with different recipe ideas, but if not, you can just go to Shakeology.com and there's a ton of recipes on there that you can try. You can also ask. I don't mind sharing them if you don't know, or if you're not liking it, we can troubleshoot. You know, some people like it better with water than they do with almond milk. The only thing I don't suggest drinking it with is whole milk because the proteins, it's too much. Because in the regular Shakeology, they use a whey protein isolate. So mixed with the casein protein in milk, it can cause stomach troubles. And also, the vegan is a plant based protein. So it's just you don't really want to mix dairy proteins and those two types of proteins together. It can really irritate your stomach. So let me think. What else I want? Oh, yes. Okay. So, how to manage this in your life. I know this seems like a lot, and it could take a little bit of adjusting too. I'm not going to lie, the first week might be a little bit rough, but I'm hoping that you guys will lean on the group as a sort of support system. But just from my experience, I've done this program 3 or 4 times now. I'm honestly, I don't know. But the first time I did it, I was in school. So the way I managed it was I planned all my meals out, meal prepped on Sunday, had it all ready to go so I could just grab and go. But I've also heard people say that, especially people who are home, that grazing, like, you know, just eating throughout the day as they get hungry, is easier for them. So that way they're not like stressing over planning their meals. Um, Something I suggest is finding an easy way to keep track of your containers. There's a document I'll upload into the group, and it's kind of like a PDF of just, I don't know, it's like a tracker. I don't personally like it. I feel like it's kind of difficult to keep up with it that way. I just wrote in my phone, I made a note on my iPhone, how many containers I needed per day, and then as I ate, I just counted them in there. So I just kept the original note and then just each day, you know, erased what I had from the day before, and every time I'd eat a protein, I'd write, you know, one red, and then I'd just keep up with it that way. Because, you know, for me, I always have my phone on me, so that's not a problem. But play around and figure out what's going to work out best for you. I really, really suggest meal prepping. And I know it can be a pain, especially, you know, whatever. You don't have to do it on Sundays. You can do it on whatever day works best for you. But I think it'll save you a lot of time. Cut up any vegetables, you know, prep any meat, cook any meat that you can. Um, just anything you can prepare ahead of time. Because especially, if, you know, for somebody who doesn't eat this way and this isn't the type of lifestyle you might have been living, it might be difficult to adjust to spending so much time eating already. And you don't want to put any more pressure on yourself by having to cook every time you have to eat. So plan that out. Um, there was something else I was going to say. Food, Shakeology, water, the groups. Or actually, I'll talk about the group first. The 21 Day Fix group is extremely small. I think there's like 6 or 7 of us in there. It's not going to get any bigger. It's very small and intimate. And it's going to be a lot of accountability because I really, 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 really want you guys to get your money's worth out of this program. I'm not going to let you quit. I'm not going to let you fall off the wagon unless you're lying to me because obviously I can't be there to make sure, but I'll do my best. And so, in order to do that, what I'm going to require from you is, don't hate me for this, but I want you to log your food every day. Tell yourself that you have to show me your food every day. And you don't have to post every single time you eat. If it's easier for you to just like take a picture and at the end of the day do a collage, do that. And then, you know, I'd really love it if you guys would let me know that you worked out. I will be asking if I don't hear from you. You're probably going to get some messages from me like, where are you? You disappeared. You know, remember why you wanted this. Remember why you spent the money on this. You know, whatever it is that I can say to get your ass back in there. But use the group to hold you accountable. That's what it's there for. This group isn't, for those of you who are in the Muscle Mafia group, that group is huge. It's overwhelming even for me. Don't worry, it's not going to be like that. You know, I'm not going to expect you to post 7 times a day. You can check in once a day. I don't really care about that. I just want you to check in because I want you to get the most out of this, and this is how I'm going to hold you accountable since I can't be there with you present. And, you know, physically to make sure you're doing everything. I'd also love if you guys would tell me your workout and how it went, if how you felt, if you felt that you did really well, if you felt that you pushed yourself as hard as you could, if you feel like you could have done better, if you've seen any improvement throughout the weeks, things like that. Every weekend, I'll probably do it on Sundays because that's the day before the new week starts. I'll ask you guys to check in with your stats. So I do want you to take pictures. You don't have to post them if you don't want to, although I do encourage you to. Again, the group is private. Nobody can see anything unless they're in there with us. But that will just help me, help me help you. I'll be able to see your progress, and sometimes having other eyes seeing your progress, because we're our biggest critics, sometimes having somebody else see it, it kind of points out where you're making changes, because a lot of times we'll look at our pictures and be like, "Ah, I don't see a difference," but there really is, and we're just being harsh on ourselves. So let us help you. We're all in this together. We're all doing it. I'm going to be doing it right with you guys. But another thing I will say is that the people who participate in the groups are usually the ones who get the best results because they hold themselves accountable. Like I said, I'll try my best to hold you guys accountable, but I can't do it for you. So let me help you. I'm not going to be annoying about it. If you ignore me a couple of times, I'll just stop reaching out to you. But I would love for you to get to your goals. Okay, moving on. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the workouts themselves. So the very first time I ever put my 21 Day Fix workout in, or when I first bought it, I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. I've done P90X. I'm badass. Whatever, this is nothing. No, it's not that easy. This is a moderate intensity workout, so it is not the hardest, but it's also not easy. And the thing about it is that you can kind of tailor it to your fitness level. So there is a modifier that you can follow along if you have any, if you're just not at that fitness level yet, or you find that you're struggling through it, you can modify. But the beauty of it is you can also push yourself really hard. She uses weights in some of the exercises. So if you find that it's a little bit too easy for you, up your weights. The leg day for me was one of those ones. I struggled in the cardio because I hate cardio with everything in my body. But when it came to the days with weights, I could up my weights and go pretty high, and it was really challenging for me. Don't ever get through a workout and feel like that was too easy. You need to be dying by the time you're done. The workouts are only 30 minutes, so I suggest trying to get them done early in the day, but obviously that's going to just be up to you. But I find that people who get up and do their workouts early tend to not miss them because they get them done first thing in the morning, where, they less chance of getting distracted, or, things just getting out of control and not having the time. Also, the workouts are a mix of cardio and strength training, so you're going to be sore, duh. You're going to need some equipment. She discusses that in the pamphlet, but I think that just for most people, 5-pound weights, maybe anywhere from 3 to 8 pounds is probably good, unless you do a lot of strength training already. You might need heavier for lower body fix. But this program is based off of high intensity training. So you're doing 60 seconds of high intensity work and then a super short break. I think it's like 15 to 20 seconds, and then you move on immediately to the next. So even if you're only using a 3-pound weight, you're going to tire really quickly because it's so much. But it's a really good workout. You will see results, especially if you follow the meal plan, because that's the biggest part. But the workouts will make a big difference. And I think that the places that people have had the most dramatic changes is in like their arms and stomach and legs, especially his tummies. I've seen people, go from having a gut to having abs in just 21 days. And most of that comes down to the food. I'm not going to lie. The workouts are great, but most of the success from this program comes from following the plan, the eating plan. So I know it can be hard, but just do it. And that's it. So one thing I do want to add in too, because from what I remember, she doesn't include the ab workouts until later on in the schedule. Myself, I wanted to add them in because I really wanted to focus on my tummy. So I went through the first week and just survived because it was rough. It was a lot more difficult than I ever anticipated it to be. But the second week I did abs every other day, the 10-minute ab video. Don't let it trick you. It's only 10 minutes, but that thing is hard. I did it every other day. And then in the third week, sorry, in the third week you do double workouts. So I also added in the abs every other day. So that's it, guys. I'll post the link for that group. I will also upload the file. If you have any questions at all, don't be afraid to ask me. I promise I'll answer honestly. I'm here to support you. And also, I'll need your guys' support because I tend to get off track too. So hold me accountable. And hopefully in 21 days, we will all be proud of ourselves and showing some amazing progress. But yeah, if you have anything else, just let me know. Otherwise, we will get started on Monday. And hopefully over the weekend, you guys can get some shopping done, some meal prep, and let's get our pictures posted if you're going to do that. Oh, also, do your measurements. Don't skip the measurements. There's a little guide that came with the program that tells you exactly how to do them. It's super important because even if you don't lose a single pound, you may lose many inches because muscle weighs more than fat. So as you're burning fat and gaining muscle, you might not see much of a difference on the scale, but you will see it in your measurements. So take the measurements, take the pictures, do your weight, whatever. But yeah, so anyway, I will see you guys in the group. Bye.